Hi everyone. Today's technique that I'm teaching you has helped me so much in my homeschooling, and I wish I had had it when I first started homeschooling. Is what it is. It's about clipboards and putting all of your scheduling together. So this works really well if you have 3 or more children. It works fantastic with 1 or 2, but you can actually manage life without it. But when you have 3 or more children, this is a game changer in your homeschooling world. So this also works super well for 8th grade and under with the clipboards. So we have, basically is what I've done, and how I kind of figured it out is I would stay up late. I would stay up till sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning, making sure that I graded my kids' homework and that I put together what they needed for the next day. And then one night I just reached over, grabbed a clipboard and attached everything to it, and that was awesome. And especially I remember Douglas saying, "Mom, why didn't you start this sooner? This is so fantastic." So is what I started doing is it's really important that you get a spiral notebook. And I was just cleaning out my office and I found Chad and here it is, Chad and Doug's schooling for 2017 and 2018, and it was really fun to go through because I typically throw these out, and I went through them and I'm like, oh, that's what they did when they were at that age. And so I've already thrown last year's out for Daniel and Paul's, and it kind of makes me a little bit sad, but you can't save everything. It just is too overwhelming. So in here, this is the beginning of the school year, brand new beginning. And so I'm not as at the very beginning, I'm a little bit softer to kind of ease your kids into the school. So like right here, we had math lessons 7 and 8. He had a Ron Paul lesson, which was number 5. And the Ron Paul lessons, I love Ron Paul curriculum. So I really love their history. And this is when they're in high school. And so things are a little bit different with their notebooks, but I still always did a schedule, but it's a little bit different with the younger children. He had band that he had to be to. Also, he had to read for 15 minutes. He had to do his scriptures. He had a church audiobook that I wanted him to listen to, and he had a book of choice. He also had to do his geography, and then he had a one-on-one lesson with me with his grammar lessons. And see how much more intense it gets further on. So this is September, and then he has a full day with everything that he needed to do there. So that was Douglas. And so then we have, and you'll have to excuse some of my handwriting because I do this late at night and I don't really care how my handwriting is. So look at Douglas from clear in September. So they had swim first thing right off the bat, which was at 5 a.m. in the morning. And then he had to do his algebra 2. I had certain lessons. He had to do 33 and 34. He had a tech class that he needed to. So I tell him what he needs to do. I start it because I'm like, you need to do this tech class. He had debate, focus on his geography. Anyways, so those are the things that he needed to tackle. So is what I would do. Now for a younger child, I would write that down, write their schedule down, and then when they were younger, I would tear out of their grammar books. So I'd have like these big grammar books, and I like to have all different kinds of grammar from different like I enjoy The Well-Trained Mind, The Good and the Beautiful. There's just some other grammar books that I have dipped into. But anyways, I tear them out and I put them on their clipboard. So that would be their grammar. And then I also would tear out their handwriting so that they're not bogged down with huge books. So I would, if I wanted them to do 1 page or 2 pages, I would clip that to the clipboard. If I wanted them to work on any specific thing with flashcards, I would clip that there. Also, this was really fun that I clipped to their clipboards when they were younger, when they were first starting out, because this is cursive, they can erase it. So also in their grammar books, well, in their schedules now, what I've changed it a little bit. What I do now, I would write down anything to do with their grammar. So if they are focusing on their spelling words, that goes into their schedule book. And so we're only focusing on the one book and not having different books that's rotating out. So their schedule book is, they will go to this to do any of their diagramming or dictation, anything like that, it will be out of this book. So, and there's plenty of paper to be able to do that most of the time. So anyways, I would clip it all together, and then that child would be ready to go and start the next morning. So then you can start and work with a one-on-one, while the other child, they have everything that they need, and they can go and work and let you have your time that you need with your child. So now, when your child gets older, things change. And so I always, but that might sound a little crazy with my mic, sorry about that. So I always still do a schedule. Never skip your schedule. It doesn't matter how old your child is, don't skip it, because it messes up your morning. When you're so used to a schedule, if you go without one, it completely messes your morning up. So anyways, I already have Paul's ready and Daniel's ready for next year. We start in a couple weeks. And so this is going to be his new book. I kind of wish I had waited and not thrown his old book out so I can show it to you. But this right here, I will date it and I'll write down his schedule, everything that needs to be done. But then this will be everything, he will have tons of spelling words in here, dictation, anything that I want him to memorize. Last year he worked on the preamble and the Declaration of Independence, memorizing parts of that. So that would go in this, and I clip it to his clipboard, so he always has that. Now I did upgrade their clipboard so they can take this to their co-ops or even into the next room, and he has what he needs for that. So he has a pencil, and also I'm keeping his math book, notebook in here, not obviously his book, but this one, he already went through one of these last year, and so I just having him start it again right here, so I'm not wasting paper, because he'll use all of this and then another one next year. But for his math, I would write down the assignment, what he needed to do, and then I would grade it, and whatever that he didn't understand, I would talk to him about. So I think the children love to see good job and go through. He also, I would pay him if he got an A. I paid him a little bit of money, whatever makes him, that helped him so much with his math. So, and that was an A on each assignment. So I probably gave him a quarter for each A that he got on each assignment that I gave him. And so also in here, I have his multiplication tables. He still needs this a little bit. Also, I have handwriting that I found this and I didn't want to throw it out, so I'm going to have him use it for handwriting. I have anything to do with his Latin roots, his prefixes, those will go in here. Anything that he needs to study, also his handwriting. I will clip this. I won't have him do this every day. So I will clip this to his board when I have him doing his handwriting. So we'll put that back in here for when we start school. Daniel, who is a sophomore, I just gave him a bigger one. He has a few co-op classes that he's attending this year with debate and moot court, and then also chemistry. He'll be doing that. His math class, he is doing it online here at home with a tutor. So anyways, so Daniel right here, this was a book that he used last year for some diagramming, but it wasn't taken up. He did a lot of his just mostly for diagramming in here for his language arts book, but I didn't want to waste the paper. So oftentimes with the schedule, you don't use your entire book for the whole year. So I'm going to take that and we'll put a post-it up here. It's always nice to have a post-it to mark your spot. We'll put the dates, and then I always do a one-on-one, and I'll talk about that in another video, but this is where I will make sure that he gets all of his spelling words that I think he needs, any dictation that I give him that will go in this notebook. It all stays together, and then any of the grammar stuff that we will do this year, just grammar, that doesn't count like his debate class, that will be in a completely different notebook, but this will just be the things that we work with together, and then I can check. I just know where it's at. I can make sure that he did do his spelling words. We will go over those and make sure that he's doing those. And then those I will clip on the front. When he wants to pull out a piece of paper, he can just put that back inside of this. So inside here, I do have his calculator that he needs. Also, it holds pencils. I put Post-its in there because Post-its are huge to make sure that you can just flip right to the right spot that you need. Erasers, lead. I love mechanical pencils, so I typically have those for my kids. I will keep and add more Latin roots as the school goes on. He's already practiced these for several years, but I always make sure that he doesn't forget them. More Latin roots and prefixes that he needs to know and he needs to practice. Also, what I've put in here is another spiral notebook, and this is a 3-subject notebook. So this one he will leave out, go with out of the home, and this is when he goes to debate and moot court, and we will mark these. Okay, this subject is moot court, this subject is debate, this subject is chemistry, and then we will label those, and so he can take these out and be completely prepared for when he needs to leave home. He can just put it in his backpack. He'll have everything he needs on this clipboard. Now, don't feel like you have to do big clipboards like this, especially when they're young. They don't need big clipboards like this, but I think when they're older, it might really be beneficial and be super helpful for them. But this is a game changer. Whatever you do, don't skip a schedule. And it helps your child, it helps you, it makes it so you actually enjoy homeschooling a lot more and you're not overwhelmed, because homeschooling can get you overwhelmed. And so the more structured you are, the more things that you have put together, your homeschooling will be enjoyable, and your children will enjoy learning with you. So anyways, we'll see you in the next lesson, and don't forget those schedules.